You will recall that for our 2025 conference, which took place in Enugu, though initially scheduled to take place in Port Harcourt, but because of certain political developments had to be shifted to Enugu, the theme of that conference was Stand Out, Stand Tall. We chose that topic because we felt that legal practitioners, Nigerians, and Nigeria as a country must have to stand out and learn to do things differently. Whether it be in tackling the economic challenges we face, the security challenges we face, or the political and leadership questions that Nigerians have to ask and answer, and in taking bold steps to make for a stronger nation. And this year we have decided to take that further by choosing as our theme for this year's conference, going beyond limits. Now, this may sound like a theme for a motivational talk, but at a time like this, when school children were abducted in numbers towards the end of last year, where there was threat by America to invade Nigeria, and where America has labeled Nigeria a country of particular concern, it is a time for us to go beyond limits, to go beyond our comfort zone. A call to action for lawyers and other members of the society to be part of finding solutions to Nigerian problems. If every Nigerian, and indeed every lawyer is called upon, he or she would have an idea as what he or she considers Nigerians' problem. And we'll think that this is a time for us to call for action, for all of us to find ways to contribute to nation building instead of complaining, and also to nudge those who are policymakers, decision makers, persons in authority and persons in government to go beyond mere platitudes, to go beyond insecurity situations, recovering or rescuing those who have been kidnapped, to taking preemptory actions to ensure that will put kidnapping to an end, that will end terrorism, that the banditry and other things that ravage parts of the nations are confronted, that will move out of our comfort zone. And we do that which before now we have not done. The NBA believes that as partners in building a nation and finding things that work and ensuring that we enthrone the rule of law, that it is a time for us to go beyond our limits. Whatever limitations we feel placed against us or we have placed against us, this is time to dismantle those obstacles, whether they be physical or mental obstacle, political or socioeconomic, to find solutions to our problems. And now, and that is why we have called you members, ladies and gentlemen of the press, to be here with us today, to also draw my attention to our conference, which is scheduled to take place in the city of Port Harcourt from the 22nd day of August 2026 to 29th. And also to ensure that we are able to encourage our members to participate in this program, notwithstanding the current economic situation, about being mindful of the need to encourage participation and not to impose more financial hardship on our members. We have, NEC has approved, as our last NEC meeting which took place in Benin, to retain the same conference fees which was paid for last year. And also to push up our drive to find partners and sponsors who will be able to support our program so that the financial burden of funding our conference will not be largely borne by our members. And also to continue to put in place prudential financial management to ensure that we get for the best cost, the best value. We witnessed that in Enugu, and we tend to repeat that. Interestingly, most of the people who also piloting the affairs of this year's conference planning committee were also part of those who worked in it last year. So they have experience, and they have the vision and the drive and the passion to make for a better conference. And this is also the NBA setting an early tone, and this is January for nation, for our government, that we must go beyond limits this year. That beyond assuring citizens that all will be well, that the actions by those in positions of authority and governance must actually show that we are ready this year to go beyond limits, to find solutions to our problems, to make for a better nation, strengthen our economy, and make for better lives for our people. Of course, in the course of this press briefing, questions may be asked, and I will not necessarily have to be the one to answer those questions. But if the questions are, if there's an insistence that I answer them, then I will. Otherwise, the conference planning committee chair and his team and the consultants will largely have to provide the answers to this program. That's also me wishing you a happy new year. And this is the first time I'm seeing most of us here today, and saying that we are grateful to God who has made us see this year and who has given us good health and life for us to be here. And to assure you that we'll continue to partner with you in the course of planning this conference, and of course in the course of planning of executing the conference. Even I will soon start the wind down to my handover, which will take place happily by God's grace, on the 29th day of August at the end of the conference in Port Harcourt. Thank you so very much for all your support, for also giving us a platform to be able to reach out the larger society, and also for your participation in our last press conference which took place here in December, and to say that the NBA is very grateful and that all of us must continue to work together and join hands together to work to build that Nigerian nation that all of us aspire to, that all of us in our own different hearts pray that God will give us. It is time human beings actually take responsibility. We have prayed enough, and God has given us the grace and the strength to make for a better nation. All of us must go beyond our limits this year to make for a better nation. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you.
You see, when your house is on fire, you don't chase after rats. When there's a negative view of the profession, it is a matter that has to be placed on the front burner on how to address it and make this view much more positive. Now, little drops of water make an ocean, and I believe the work is being done. If you notice in the last year, the NJC started what they call the transparency policy, where names of persons who are to be appointed judicial officers are published, and there's call for public comments, and these comments have been treated with a lot of seriousness, and a number of persons who are proposed to be put forward for appointment as judges have been withdrawn on account of some of this feedback. Is that all that needs to be done? No. The process of shortlisting persons also needs to be revisited, has to be a bit more objective and merit-driven. But Rome, they say, was not built in a day. But we have been building this nation called Nigeria for more than a day. So that is also not to say that we have not had enough time, but just to say that we need to hasten slowly so that we don't rush to make changes and turn out to make bigger mistakes. The issue of confidence in the judiciary will always be one that worries us, because any day that the confidence is lost, we'll be out of a job. Even as lawyer, I would say that once the client has lost confidence in you as a lawyer, there's no basis for the relationship. And society at large, our clients, and we need them to have the confidence in what we do, lawyers, legal practitioners. But much more interesting for us is putting in place some of the recommendations made over the years and from last year's conference to ensure that we improve on that confidence, so that when people read judgment, they will say, yes, Daniel is indeed come to judgment. That's like Shylock. And not so that we also not regret like Shylock, that after praising the judgment, we started crying. So, but just to say that, in answer to your question, it is a sub-topic that will always be on the front burner. But you asked the question, yes, if we sit here and tell you that we have solution to our challenges, then we'll be pretending and deceiving you. We are not those saddled with that decision. We are an advocacy group, but we can identify what we consider problems and proffer solutions. They may or may not work, but there would be some kind of improvement. I'm from the southeast part of Nigeria, and in many years, 2-3 years, many more people were able to go home for the festive season, and there were no major incidents. And also, likewise, reports from all over the country. Likewise, reports from other parts of Nigeria also reflected that. But do we need to do more? Sure, we need to do more. Now, how do we need to do more? Like I said, deploying technology, being proactive and taking issues seriously. Now, one of our members lost her life to one chance robbers in the early part of the week. The sad thing about that is that the family reached out to the police. And if you read the statement by the police did nothing. And when they called back the police, they said that we thought she had returned home. Read that report by her sister, family, signed by her sister. So for us, it is worrisome that reports are not taken seriously. The requisite security agencies, sometimes it is believed, alleged, request for money to track numbers that are of interest. We need to have a society where you don't need to have prime money, where such reports are prioritized, are taken seriously, and where we adopt a policy of taking out things, stopping incidents before they occur, rather than being reactionary. We need to leverage on local intelligence gathering, have secure lines that people can give information to or report to. And when people have been kidnapped, to have designated government agencies and offices that can guide the proper families and work with them. And also devise a security measure that is not dependent on payment of ransom for safe return. Because for as long as people know that they get ransom and nothing happens, for so long with the kidnapping and terrorism that is based on ransoming go on. So we need to find out ways that makes it difficult for people to benefit from their crime, that makes it difficult for people to collect ransom money and go away free, and to make it difficult for people to think that they can just kidnap any person, ransom them off, and nothing happens, and make life difficult and ungovernable for different people. And whoever issues threat, like has been issued in Sokoto, for government to say no man has the capacity to threaten the state or the livelihood of the people and get away with it. We will not allow that to happen. By way of global solution, this to my mind would amount to some of them. But we are not professionals. We speak and we are ready to engage. We are also proposing to have a security summit in the next few months with the security agencies and Ministry of Defense to highlight some of these issues and see how we can all work together, leverage on the law and technology, leverage on local knowledge and intelligence gathering to make for a safer society.